Hi everyone, I'm Brenda Winkle. I wanted to reach out today because I'm noticing a really interesting phenomenon. During this time of our global pandemic and COVID-19, it's August 2020 by the way, I'm noticing something really positive that is coming from this. I am noticing that people are more willing and more able to articulate boundaries. People are able to say, this is how I feel safe. This is what condition I would need in order to spend time in person, or perhaps I don't feel comfortable spending time in person. This is what I need instead. Maybe we can meet virtually. All of those things fall under the big umbrella of boundaries. I think it's just so positive and so cool that people are able to really fully articulate those boundaries. And so if you have been someone who maybe hasn't been able to articulate boundaries before, I encourage you to try it, especially around COVID-19, because everybody's having to kind of step up and say what it is that they feel safe doing. And I think that can be uncomfortable for all of us because we're having to say some things that maybe our family members and friends don't all agree with, or maybe they do, but it's leading to some really cool conversation in my world, and so I hope that maybe you can experience the same thing. By the same token, if you're finding people in your life that are not hearing your boundaries, if they're not hearing your boundaries over something like a global pandemic, that would be a red flag, and that would be perhaps reason to set some other boundaries up around that relationship, because when people aren't willing to hear our boundaries, they're really saying they're not able to hear us. They don't want us to have that autonomy, to have our own needs, our own feelings, our own independence, to be a human. And so this is a really cool time in history. I've never been part of a global pandemic, and I don't think you have either. And so as we are all practicing boundaries around COVID, this is also a pretty cool time to begin to practice boundaries in other areas of your life as well. Because I find that in a lot of my clients recently, a lot of my personal conversations with my friends and family, the topic of boundaries continues to come up as one that is really important and needs continued love and attention from us. And so I would just remind you that a boundary is just simply a limit of where we are as a person. It is a way for us to express our needs, to express our wants, and to maintain that personal autonomy and personhood. And it's okay to have personal boundaries, even if, and especially if, you're in relationship with other humans, whether those relationships are family relationships like brothers, sisters, husband, wives, children to parents, or your friendships. So just kind of examine and think about what it's been like for you to set boundaries recently, especially if you're more able to set boundaries around COVID topics than other topics. That would indicate maybe you can benefit from some more practice in boundaries in other areas of your life. And if it's really, really easy for you to set boundaries around COVID, I would be interested to know in what it's like for you to set boundaries in the rest of your life. It might be that they come very, very easily for you, and that enforcing and speaking and maintaining boundaries comes really, really easily for us. We know from a lot of research from a lot of different people that the healthy boundaries are really integral into healthy relationships. And so I encourage you to think about that. And I'm working on my book, my upcoming book right now, and this current chapter I'm in had me digging deep into the idea of boundaries, which is kind of what made me pay attention to this. And there's some great research and great writers out there that speak to boundaries. Brene Brown talks about boundaries quite a bit. And there's a lot of really, really cool work out there. Sage Publications has some great work on boundaries if you're interested in pattern changing. And if you're coming out of an abusive relationship, or you haven't completely healed from an abusive relationship, I encourage you to check out some of their work. It can be really transformative. And there's a great read called Civilized Assertiveness, which can be really helpful in setting boundaries. So I just had boundaries on my mind this week as I'm working on this particular segment of the book, and thought I would reach out and just mention that I think it's pretty cool that one of the side effects of COVID-19 is that we are able to more accurately, freely, and confidently express our boundaries. And I hope that that is one of the things that we can take with us as we know this pandemic will end at some point, and hopefully we can bring that boundary setting with us. Be well, stay safe, wash your hands, wear a mask, stay home if you can. Love you all.